Broncos Hall of Famer Terrell Davis is put in handcuffs after his United Airlines flight from Denver to Orange County. When his flight landed, 6 FBI and police agents boarded the plane and put him in handcuffs.
I just read one of the more bizarre stories of this NFL offseason. Per an article by Mark Pulio of The Athletic, former Denver Broncos legend, Hall of Fame running back Terrell Davis took to Instagram to release a statement claiming he feels humiliated, embarrassed, powerless, and angry following an incident on a United Airlines flight from Denver to Orange County, California. In his statement, Davis claimed that while on a flight with his wife and 3 children, his son asked the flight attendant for a cup of ice. The request was either missed or ignored, so Davis lightly tapped on the attendant's arm to get his attention. The flight attendant then shouted, "Don't hit me," before quickly leaving the area. The article claims that Davis, his family, and other passengers around the situation were extremely confused by the flight attendant's reaction. Davis's statement went on to say that once the United flight landed in Orange County, the pilot asked all passengers to remain seated. 6 FBI and law enforcement agents boarded the plane. The FBI agents and local authorities proceeded directly to my seat and immediately placed me in handcuffs while seated without any explanation in front of my wife and children while the entire flight of passengers watched in silence. I was then removed from the flight while being recorded by multiple passengers as I was paraded off of the plane in handcuffs by the officers. United Airlines released a statement stating that the flight attendant has been removed from duty while the case is being reviewed. This is clearly not the kind of travel experience we strive to provide, and we have reached out to Mr. Davis's team to apologize, says United in their statement. The Los Angeles FBI office didn't name Davis by name, but they did confirm that both agents and law enforcement partners responded to John Wayne Airport for an incident that requires further investigation. The individual they detained, quote, was cooperative with law enforcement and was released to continue his travels, end quote. In his statement on Monday, Davis said he was still in shock and had to have hard conversations with his family about what transpired. Davis said, "The traumatizing experience of my 2 sons, my daughter, and my wife watching me being placed in handcuffs without due process or any explanation cannot be undone." There's a lot of things I really hate about this story. Let's start here. In general, I don't normally like to pass judgment on a story until I've heard both sides of the argument. So far, we've heard Davis's side, we haven't heard the flight attendant's side. Having said that, it's really hard for me to imagine what the flight attendant could possibly say that's gonna make me go, yeah, you were right in this situation, Davis was wrong. I just have a hard time imagining what could have possibly happened on this flight. Like, if Terrell Davis was the kind of guy who goes around smacking flight attendants around, I think we would have heard about it by now. So the accusation implied by the flight attendant yelling, "Don't hit me," and then running off is probably bullshit. My best guess is that maybe the flight attendant knew who Terrell Davis was, so he was hoping for a payday. Maybe he's thinking like, oh, if I sue him for assault, then I'll get paid handsomely, you know, but tapping a flight attendant on the arm is not assault. I know that our society has changed and you should do your best not to touch other people. I really make an effort of that when I go out. But having said that, have we really become so soft that in order to get your attention and lightly tapping you on the arm, that triggers you now? That's enough for you to freak out and go to the back of the plane? Once again, this is all only based on one side of the story, and that leads me to the FBI, because I have to ask this question: what the hell? Like, did you guys ask any questions? On the one hand, I get it, okay? For the FBI, you get a report. We don't know what the flight attendant said happened. For all we know, the flight attendant is telling people, oh, Terrell Davis threatened me. He said that when we land, he's going to kill me. He said this, said that, said that, said that. And for the FBI, you have to take that seriously. Now, I don't know that the flight attendant said that, But for all I know, he might have. And so that would inform why the FBI is like, okay, we got to get involved. We got to get cops out there. We got to go handle this situation now. Okay, that makes sense to me. But according to Davis's post, the FBI and police got onto the plane, 6 agents and police officers deep, immediately threw Davis in cuffs without asking him a damn thing, and then just marched him off the plane. Now, I don't know if there's a policy that says that that's how they handle these things, and if there is, that's fucked. Because the reality is, putting a man in handcuffs in front of his children is traumatizing. I used to be military police back when I was in the Army. If I was arresting somebody and they had kids and their kids were there, I always made every effort I possibly could, assuming the situation was under control, assuming the person was cooperative, assuming I had backup, which sounds like all of those things apply to the Terrell Davis situation. But if I was in that scenario, I would do everything I could to not put cuffs on the guy in front of his children. And don't get me wrong, I'm aware that's not always an option. Believe me, I've been in situations where the person escalates it in front of their kids, and you've got no option but to put them in cuffs in whatever way you can, and you hate doing it. It's not something you want to do. At least it's not something I ever wanted to do. But the way I justify it to myself, the way I sleep at night, is reminding myself that they made me. They did it, not me. They're the ones that started to fight and become aggressive and become uncooperative. In the Terrell Davis situation, that doesn't apply. In the Terrell Davis situation, when you go to bed at night, I don't know what you're going to justify to yourself about handcuffing this man in front of his kids. Because in the FBI's own statement, they said he was cooperative. So I don't see why you had to cuff him. You're 6 officers deep. He's on an airplane. There's nowhere he can go. He had to get through security, so he probably doesn't have any weapons on him. And once again, we're 6 deep, so I'm not really all that concerned about that at this point in time, especially if he's being cooperative, especially if I took at least like 1 to 2 minutes to just sit there and ask him, hey, do you know what this is about? I just want something quick from him so I can feel the vibes of what's going to happen here and who I'm dealing with and that type of thing. And then when he goes, yeah, I just tapped the flight attendant on the arm, and I think he's overreacting. Guarantee you, someone in the area, assuming that that's what happened, someone in the area is going to be like, yeah, I saw the whole thing. He really did just tap the flight attendant on the arm, and he freaked out and ran to the back of the plane. Okay, if we get that story, and I'm the FBI agent, I'm standing there, and this guy's saying nothing serious happened, and the guy who's being accused is saying nothing serious happened, then I'm going to go, okay, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to get Terrell Davis and his family off the plane first. Go ahead, get off the plane. I'm going to collect their contact information just in case we have to follow up for whatever reason. And then I'm going to let them go on your way. Have a nice day. Why are we doing this bullshit? Why are we putting you in cuffs when we don't have to? Most people don't want to be arrested in front of their children. For someone who, by all indications here, didn't do anything, he was just trying to get a cup of ice for his son, this is fucking ridiculous. Look, at the end of the day, I think this is going to be one of those things where it's just going to be some small paragraph that goes at the end of Terrell Davis's Wikipedia page, but it's tattooed into his children's memory.